Hi, my name is Mikerophone, and I am your YouTube NFL expert. Okay, ignore this. By the way, I'm dropping casual merch really soon. Let me know if you'd like any edits done to this t-shirt concept, guys. I made these just for your friend that doesn't think Tom Brady is the GOAT or that thinks Patrick Mahomes is extremely overrated. Every once in a while, I like making a video like this where I predict the potential trades that are going to happen in the NFL. And I do this a lot in the offseason leading up to the trade deadline, and the trade deadline is going to be here on November 2nd, which means, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be bringing you my players that I believe are about to be traded. Of course, make sure you follow us on social media in the comment section down below. And if you want to see this video condensed into literally 45 seconds, follow us on TikTok. Now that we got all that out of the way, break. I absolutely love my truck, but do you know what problem I have with it? The fact that I can't put anything in the bed of my truck without the potential of it getting stolen or without Mother Nature deciding to give it a shower, which is why I partnered with Decked. The Decked drawer system is the perfect way for you to store all of your precious items and is weatherproof, so it protects and secures all of your stuff from Mother Nature, who can be a real mother. Decked makes organizing and accessing everything you need much easier. Each of Decked's 2 full bed length drawers can carry up to 200 pounds of whatever you got. The drawers roll out waist high, giving you easy access for your organized tools and gear. And they're so confident in their product that they're backed by a lifetime no hassle warranty. So go to deck.com/microphone to get free shipping on your Decked drawer system. And thank you, Decked, for today's sponsor. Mike check 1212. What's going on, everybody? So we have to start this trade video with a player that has been on the last 4 trade videos. And I'm going to be honest, I always mess this one up. You can't really blame me. The guy we're talking about is Deshaun Watson, a man that needs no introduction, a man that has amassed 14,539 passing yards, 104 touchdowns, and 36 interceptions throughout his career for an obscene 68% completion percentage. We didn't even get to his rushing statistics, where the man already has over 1,600 yards rushing throughout his career and 17 touchdowns. And the craziest part is his best season was the year after the Houston Texans traded DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals, where he threw for over 4,800 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, but the Texans only won 4 games. A lot of people forget how freaking good Deshaun Watson is, and Deshaun Watson was supposed to be traded literally at the end of last season. He demanded a trade really freaking early on, and I originally predicted that he would get traded anytime from January up until the NFL draft. And guess what? I was wrong. And then I thought, okay, the NFL draft came and went. Maybe there are some teams that are going to try to trade for him before the preseason. And I was wrong again. And now, before you know it, Deshaun Watson showing up to training camp. It's really freaking awkward at training camp. He's trying to avoid the media.
Why y'all always filming me every day? It's the same.
And we're 7 weeks into the NFL season and the man hasn't even taken a snap. Davis Mills is getting playing time over him. So I'm going to admit, I didn't expect this at all. And I was wrong about each and everything about Deshaun Watson up until this point. And guess what? I bet you I would be wrong again, but if I don't include him in this video, a lot of my subscribers are gonna say, Mike, what about Deshaun Watson? You forgot him. You don't think the Texans are going to trade him? So yeah, here's Deshaun Watson's inclusion in the video. I don't think he's gonna get traded at this point, unless the Miami Dolphins come in and offer the Houston Texans an offer that they can't refuse. And honestly, I don't think there's much upside for the Dolphins to do that. I mean, I know they're 1-5 on the season. They just got Tua Tagovailoa back. Why would you give up your starting QB and have to play with Jacoby Brissett potentially for the rest of the season, unless if the Dolphins elect to allow Deshaun Watson to play, when you can just wait up until the offseason and see how his cases go and what his situation is with all the allegations against him, and see if the guy could even play football anymore past this point. But regardless, I have to include him in this list. Otherwise, you guys are gonna call me a... Alright, next, we're gonna get to a couple of Joneses here, starting with my man Ronald Jones. I made the mistake in drafting this guy in fantasy football this year, over playoff Lenny. And to be honest, the reason I drafted Ronald Jones was mainly because I drafted Leonard Fournette last year, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers gave Ronald Jones a bulk of the carries. We come into this season, and so far, Ronald Jones has only had 31 rushing attempts. He only has 118 rushing yards this season and a touchdown. I don't know why he's not in my waiver wire yet. yet. I have him on my bench just in case something happens, but pretty much you could tell that Leonard Fournette is the top back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As a result, you're hearing of a bunch of teams monitoring the availability of Ronald Jones. Obviously, we could throw Marlon Mack into this as well. So it's really strange. After having a career season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Ronald Jones kind of regressed this year, mainly because Leonard Fournette emerged in that backfield. I guess something to do with Leonard Fournette being one of the most hyped up recruits when he was going into LSU. And then bear in mind, this guy was a top 5 draft pick that the Buccaneers were able to get for the cheap. I guess the Buccaneers could do way more with Leonard Fournette as well, and maybe they just like him more. Needless to say, Ronald Jones is the odd man out, and you could expect him to be traded very, very soon. The other Jones I was going to bring up in this instance was Chandler Jones, but honestly, given the season that the Arizona Cardinals have been having so far, I think Chandler Jones will be willing to let go of the fact that he doesn't absolutely love his contract right now just so he could win his second Super Bowl. To give you an idea, Chandler Jones already has 5 sacks on the season. All of them came in week 1. He's slowed down a little bit since then, but again, the Cardinals have this crazy recipe for disaster. I don't see them trying to sell any of their talent just because they're in a contract dispute, but I felt like this would be a nice opportunity to give you an update on Chandler Jones. Up next, we have Marlon Mack. Now, Marlon Mack had a remarkable first couple seasons for the Indianapolis Colts. In 2019, he had over 1,000 yards rushing, but in 2020, he tore his Achilles, and as a result, when he came back, he was kind of the odd man out in Indianapolis. Of course, the Colts have Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines now, so I expect the Colts to move from Marlon Mack by the end of the trade deadline. Up next, we have Odell Beckham Jr., which honestly, this is another guy that I've been predicting to get traded. I think ever since my channel started, I've put Odell Beckham Jr. in almost all of my about to be traded videos, mainly because I don't think it's working out for him in Cleveland. So far, the guy's kind of giving hints that he's not necessarily so happy with the situation. About a week ago, he came out and said, "I can't sit here and lie and be like, I don't want the ball. They don't pay James Harden for defense," which is kind of a funny shot at James Harden because throughout his career, James Harden was known to be a below average defender, which by the way, we do basketball content on my basketball channel at The Flight Mike if you're interested in that. And even his offensive coordinator says that OBJ needs to touch the ball. He's a good player and finding ways to get him the ball is important to all of us, and he does so much for us. A while ago, we made a video on how Baker Mayfield simply misses Odell Beckham Jr. when there's opportunities to get him the football. And so far, ever since returning from his ACL injury, it's been more of the same. Originally, I didn't expect it to be more of the same because I felt like the Cleveland Browns finally were clicking and got a recipe for success, and Odell Beckham Jr. was going to return to a team that knew what it was doing, and he was going to be integrated seamlessly. It seems like it's more of the same. He's the odd man out once again in Kevin Stefanski's offense, but I feel like with more repetitions, he might be able to get it together and the Cleveland Browns might be able to find a role for him. But if you find a team that is willing to overpay for a talent like Odell Beckham Jr., a team that needs wide receivers or just wants to load up on wide receivers even more, I think that's an opportunity that you'd have to take. Honestly, I'd love to see him on the Baltimore Ravens. I think it makes a lot of sense there. I'd like to potentially see him on the Jacksonville Jaguars as well, give Trevor Lawrence a legitimate wide receiver weapon, or even better, and hopefully this happens because my prayers will be answered, uniting Odell Beckham Jr. with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. I think if Aaron Rodgers saw the Packers do something like that, there'd be a good chance that he stays for another year. And we're gonna end this video with probably one of my favorite corners in the NFL, and that's Xavien Howard. Now, Xavien Howard had some drama with the Miami Dolphins earlier this year in regards to his contract. He wanted another contract. He didn't like his old contract. He felt like he deserved to be paid as one of the highest cornerbacks in the NFL, and ultimately, the Miami Dolphins gave in and paid him. Unfortunately, the Dolphins haven't been off to the greatest start. Obviously, that's due to a combination of their starting QB being out due to a rib injury. Tua Tagovailoa just came back from a rib injury, and in his first game back against the Jacksonville Jaguars in London, the Jaguars were able to bust their losing streak of 20 plus games. That's not necessarily the greatest look, but typically when teams go to London, they usually play very wonky football. I think it has a lot to do with the jet lag getting to London, so I'm not really going to hold that against them. I'm saying if the Miami Dolphins end up punting on this season, which for all you know, they could win their next 11 games and they could be golden and make it into the playoffs, then expect Xavien Howard to be traded if the right price comes along. Of course, the Miami Dolphins have a lot invested in their defense defensive back unit. They also have Byron Jones there on an $82 million combined contract. So don't be surprised if a contender decides to make a move for Xavien Howard. I'm looking at you, Green Bay. I think you should make a move to keep number 12 happy and win yourselves another Super Bowl. But let me know in the comment section down below if you think I forgot anyone. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.